Empty bottles of red wine laying on the floor from last night. We got a little drunk, yeah. Now I'm a little numb. Spending hours by your bedside, talking till it's dark out somehow. Can get you off my.
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I got music just playing all in my background. All right. So, y'all, welcome back. I am so sorry. I have a sore throat, y'all. I am so sorry. And my nose is red because I woke up just stuffy. um, but today is Relationship Saturday. I am here with you guys as promised. I have a topic for you guys that I wanted to discuss with you, and we're going to get right on into it before I start coughing and hacking and all that kind of stuff. So, but today's topic, as you guys can see, um, TikTok, I can't put my full topic on y'all side, but the topic is the strain that mothers put on fathers. Should fathers foot the cost of living? Like, should they pay for the cost of living? Now, excuse me, as we all know that like in a lot of relationships, the financial responsibility usually does fall on the man, okay? But we are in modern day times. Women are working and women are making more money than a lot of men are today. So the question is, should that still apply? Or should they, me personally, should they share the responsibility? I feel like, yes, they should share the responsibility because they share the child. No, the father is not a single parent and the mother is not either. So the roles should be shared equally, 50-50. You don't have to be married for this stuff to be split up 50-50. Okay, so um, some argue that the father should be the sole primary responder for making sure that their child receives a lifestyle of the mother's asking. Me personally, I do not feel that way. I do not feel that the father should hold that responsibility, especially if his funds does not say he can afford that cost of living, especially if that cost of living isn't necessarily um, a requirement of a high payment. For example, mothers are pretty much requiring that fathers that make six figures pay a high fraction of the cost of what they make to help them pay for a cost of living that they create for their child, not necessarily not necessarily what the child needs, but what they want their child to have. Sometimes we have to forego what we want and just make sure that we are providing what we need. There is a difference. Okay, yes, we all want our child to have the best, but does it has to cost millions? Okay. Um, I don't think so. My opinion, I am not a professional. Okay. Um, Mothers may unintentionally or intentionally place this financial or emotional strain on the fathers, expecting them to 100% provide. Okay. I can understand if y'all are together and that is something that he was doing. So you just require him to continue to do it. Now, me personally, fathers, I don't feel like they should do that because if you get in a position where that you can no longer do those things, you've created a problem within the relationship that you didn't intend to create. Case in point, maybe maybe you are uh was raised to be a 100% man and provide. Okay, you want to be that financial provider for your family. I get it. You want your wife to be the the home stabler. She's just to stay at home and just make sure the home is upkept, the kids are okay, and the bills are all paid with the money that you give. Okay, I get it. I get it. There are relationships that are like that. But in my opinion, that works as long as that partnership has some type of understanding and agreement that what happens in the case of an emergency. Like, say the father can't work, what's the backup plan in those type of situations? What do you have as your backup plan for how you're going to sustain your family? What if you run through your savings? Okay, so what if something happens to your wife and your wife can't sustain the home by herself while you go to work? How will you swing that by? What happens then if you have to take off from work to help sustain the home because something, God be it, something happens to your wife and now you are a single father? What happens then? So all things need to be taken into accountability in my opinion. Okay. Now, let's just say you got these boyfriend, girlfriends, and half of them not even boyfriend and girlfriends, they just sex partners, and somebody get knocked up, whether it's on purpose or on accident. Okay, guys, if you are, what's the term? Raw dogging, raw dogging females. Okay, so if you are having unprotected sex and that is your MO because you want to feel it, then you need to feel the cost of that child because that's your responsibility to make sure you wrap it up as well as hers to make sure that you wrap it up. And if both of y'all are irresponsible, yes, both of y'all are responsible for that child. But be prepared that if she's setting you up because she knows that you have money, you have to be prepared. Okay? But ladies, what if he can't afford? He may be showing you a lifestyle that he doesn't actually have. Okay. So child support is meant to assist. You're basically saying, hey, I'm a single mother. I didn't have this child on my own. Child support, I need him to help pay child support to me to help take care of his child or his children. Okay. So what are you saying that you basically need help with? Okay. That's what child support is asking. You need help with what? Okay, you need help with if the child is not in school, you need help with child care. Okay, you need help feeding that child because you should not be the sole provider of making sure that child eats. Yes, both of you should share that responsibility. I do feel that if the mother is struggling, and I do mean struggling, meaning she has a job, she has a job or a career, and her funds is not enough to sustain the home that she and the child live in, then okay, some of the money that the father gives to you for the child should be used towards sustaining that cost of living for that child to live there. Okay. No, the father should not pay the full cost because he's not laying there. Just the child is, but the child is not there alone. The child is there with another parent who should also foot that cost. Like I said, I am not a professional. This is my own personal opinion. Okay. That both of you should make sure that the child has adequate space to live in. If, for say, the father does not feel like he should have to pay that, that's your house. If you can't sustain a sacred place for my son or my daughter or my children to lay their head, then maybe my children should come and stay with me. Okay, then what happens then, ladies, when that happens? That the fathers start fighting back. What do you say then? Especially for the ladies that are actually, they don't actually want kids. Their kids are an investment, a financial investment. They are using their kids as a business deal, meaning they are using the kids, they're getting pregnant to lure money out of these men. Okay. So what happens then? And yes, men do this to women as well. Look at the celebrities that have lost their kids to men. And now they're having to pay out the ass to these men. So it's going both ways. Okay. More so, we're seeing it with women doing it to men, but men do this to women as well. Women do get trapped having kids. And then once they give birth, the fathers take custody. Okay. So do not think that you are safe. But the question is, should the fathers that actually have the money that the women are actually targeting, should they foot the cost of living of this child if the child is living with the mother? No, I do not feel like they should foot the cost of living. They should share if the mother is struggling. If especially if he's paying child support, then they should come out of that child support. That's what it's for. Now, is he entitled to give you more than that? No. And you should not request more. You can ask if he can lend a helping hand. And if he's a decent dude, he will. But he's not going to lend no helping hand while you got another man laying up in there. The audacity. I saw a video that was circulating on Facebook or Instagram or somewhere, but I saw it on a Facebook reel where a young lady said that she was upset that she asked her baby's father to help her pay to get her lights turned back on. And she was upset that he wouldn't do that because their son was living there. But you had a husband and you and your husband fell on hard times and you didn't understand why the baby's father wouldn't get your lights turned back on. First of all, your baby's father should hustle up the money. Okay, your husband should hustle up the money, not the baby father. Okay, now if the baby's father is giving you child support and you receive that check and you just so happen to use that check to get your lights turned on, okay, I understand that. I agree with that. You are doing what you feel you had to do to sustain the cost of living of your child, which is keep the lights on or get them turned back on per se. But he should not come out of his pocket for extra funds to fund that for you, especially if you have another man laying up in that home and you're not requiring that man to do that for you. The audacity of you to ask the baby father to do it instead and feel like because you have a child, he has to do it. No, ma'am. The one that you're sleeping with has to do it. The one that you got your legs open for, that's who has to do it. Okay. Stop asking these baby fathers to do things outside of what they're already doing, especially if they're paying you already out the ass. Child support is supposed to help, not replace. These mothers don't want to work and they're using their kids to do that. But what happens when these baby fathers start fighting back and taking custody and then put you on child support and then requires you to foot their cost of living? Okay, just food for thought. Now, I'm not going to stay on here long. I said what I had to say. I said what I said. I agree with what I said. I ain't changing what I said. Ladies, we got to do better because if we're receiving child support, and yes, I was, past tense, I was a child support recipient, but I was not receiving child support because I needed the help. At the time that I was receiving child support, it gave me custodial rights. That's why I had child support for. Okay. Not for the money, because I worked for a living. We both co-parented. He did his part. I did my part. And I didn't ask for nothing in between. If I did, it was only what my funds and the funds that he was giving me did not cover. Then we both came together to bridge the gap. And the key word is we came together. Okay. I didn't require him to do it on his own just because that was his daughter. So I'm just saying, y'all have a nice day. If y'all just now jumping on this feed, be sure to follow my channel, Snack Cackle Talk on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Okay. And I will see y'all on Hot Topic Tuesday. I don't have anything else left to say. Y'all have a good day. Bye.
Bye, bye, bye. Maybe we should take it slow. I don't feel too comfortable jumping into something new right now.